we come from, I mean, but even I must tell you, even in Berlin, through COVID now, I've seen a lot of homeless people.
Yeah, it is.
And didn't see this before. So it's the way we choose to live right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's so difficult when you've got a beautiful country, like and California is stunning beaches and everything. But like you say, it's happening in Berlin. We go to different cities around the UK, and you'll see it. Yeah, it's like COVID's hit us all really hard, but the homeless,
mm,
imagine being homeless and getting COVID. It's just horrendous.
yeah. And then, let's come back to like let's say the mess or the addiction of the pharmaceutical medication. And so everybody takes, is like diagnosed very quickly, depressed. Oh, let's just take this, The
Yeah.
doctor doesn't ask question either. They're overworked. I mean, it sounds like we're painting, a very dark picture of like our world. But it's so, and then you wonder, so if you take these antidepressants, you have not dealt with your emotion. You don't even know what's going on. You're basically numbing. You go on an emotional, just straight line. Because before you were like up and down, it was so extreme. Now you take antidepressants, you're just like no emotions.
Mm,
Then you lose your job. You probably can't take the medication. You can't afford it. So you're completely off the hook.
mm.
So what's going on? You find yourself on the street. Maybe you were a decent person, but once you're on the street, how do you get off the street?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're once on the street, it's really, really hard to get off.
yeah. It's difficult, and the thing is with COVID, it's hit everybody. And
Hmm.
if we are positive or we try and find a way around it, like myself, we've been pretty lucky. But some families have been hit really hard. But I think you have
Yeah,
to have that positive look that we'll get through it. There's good coming out of it. But there's
yeah,
a lot of bad, and I mean, things like you just said about the doctors. You don't even have to see a doctor now because of COVID. You can just phone up, so you've
yeah,
lost that interaction. So
right.
some things have really been hit hard by
Mm,
COVID, and more than anything, I think it's the interaction. And a doctor is a perfect example, isn't it? Not being able
yeah.
to see a doctor is just a nightmare.
Yeah, the loneliness. I mean, we are social beings. Even if we're well off, we feel like, oh, I'm good with myself. I know who I am, but I know it. I need to be around people. We need a hug, we need a touch, we need a smile, we need that eye to eye contact. And it's hard. I mean, if you have family, you can get that still a little bit, but let's say, and so many of us, so many people live in apartments in big cities. There's
Yeah.
so many people, but everybody has this like, oh my God, don't come too close. You wear the mask, you don't touch, don't even, oh my God, I can't even look that person. I'm getting COVID if I get, I mean, it's just, there's so much fear.
Yeah.
So it's, then we become lonely. So we don't even know really the consequences yet, what actually went on in all these behind closed doors.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
talking about addiction, the numbing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit bleak. So I think
Yeah,
there's a lot of work to do.
there is,
There's
there
a lot
is.
of work to do.
Well, look, let's talk about something positive. Let's be positive now. We've seen
I know.
Armageddon. We've talked about everything that's really depressive. Now, something I said to you when we first came on, we were talking about. You said you're in the flow, and I said, "Oh, flow state," which is sort of a word that's flying around a bit.
Mhm.
And a flow state for me is when I'm doing something and completely forget the time, which is a flow state, and I'm enjoying it as well. This
Right.
board here, as you can see behind me, this is my latest script, which I'm writing
Uh-huh.
for my new film. And when I'm doing it, this is all like a board where I plot out pages and things like that. So when I'm doing that and I'm writing, I completely lose track of time, and I love it. And we were
Mm.
talking about tell us what is a flow state for you, because you say you're in the flow. What do you think about it?
What is it?
Mm,
So I went 5 months ago. I went back to the US. I went there because of a job, and I was planning to stay for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I told everybody in Europe, I'm back in 2 weeks, hey. And then so I did this job, amazing job, and then somebody else offered me another job. I didn't know where I was staying. I mean, it was literally this like incredible synchronicities of life that I was like, oh, I'm on vacation. You want to stay at my house? You want to stay at my flat? Da da da. And so it went on, and I dropped into this incredible trust. I didn't know what I was doing, but my vibration was so open and trusting that I guess it invited all these things in. So I'd never experienced this such a flow state of flow. I was in such a flow, and maybe similar, you say forget time. I just trusted. I trusted that this was all gonna be the way it's supposed to be. And I'm so grateful for it. It's like incredible. So now, and then I was like, oh my God, I'm going back to wintry, cold Berlin. How is this going to be? It's going to just be this like whoosh. I'm going to drop out of the flow state. But I realized, no, it is truly me to simply, not simply, but, trusting myself. And that's the work. I think we are invited to do, all of us, to trust our journey and to welcome everything what comes and seeing the positive and the learning and the wisdom in that. And that, I think,
Yeah.
is flow state.
That's amazing what you've just said, because I think the problem is this day and age is we've got so many stresses. Everyone
Mm,
plans something. I'm terrible for it sometimes, and then I'll sort of shake my head and go, stop being silly. But if people get so hung up, I want to get my kitchen decorated. I need to get my car changed. I need this. I need to do that. And all those stresses build up. And
mm,
some of the best times when you just let those go. I know we
right.
need to have plans for certain times,
Yeah.
but like you say, if
Yeah.
we just go with our gut and trust that it'll work out,
Yeah.
it feels so freeing, doesn't it?
Oh my God, it feels so free. I can't put the words to it. I think it's good to have these guidelines.
Hmm.
It's not that I'm, in this like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, hippy dippy, whatever. I really know I have a very strong idea how I want my future to look like. I just finished my studies. I mean, I am driven. I know what I want. But within that structure, I give myself this freedom of like, okay, I know there is this end goals or I know where I want to go, but even if I go back 2 steps,
Yeah.
it's meant to be that way because maybe I'm not ready, or maybe I'm going to go over there for a little bit, and that's okay as well, as long as I have sort of a rough guideline. And I think to eliminate those roadblocks, I mean, everything comes for us for a reason. Like you could be like, okay, why is this here? Maybe I need to look at this right now. And then when I get to look at it, it's let's say a shadow or whatever it is, or something, a relationship or an ending of a job, then I can turn it into something else. It's my choice. Instead of like, oh my God, why is this here? And then the energy goes, we only have so much energy, and then it's an energy leak. And then the energy goes there, but I'm losing myself in this negative vibration. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. It does. I know exactly what you mean because a few weeks ago, I've got lots of things that I need to get sorted, and I was thinking about all of them at once. So I got
Mm.
nothing done, and the stress. You can't concentrate on anything. You're like, which should I do first? Should I do that? But then I'll be missing that. So then what you do is you procrastinate and you do fuck
Right.
all. So I'm like, I can't win. So I
No,
think what I try to do now, as soon as I see that, I just say, right, deep breath, we'll work it out. Let's do this.
right.
Let's do that. Because if you get tied up in actually what you need to do and you get the stress of it, you end up doing nothing. It's the worst.
I know. Isn't that crazy? And then you find yourself in that circle and you're like, I need to do this and I need to do this. And it's almost like you're on an endless loop in your brain. And you still have done nothing.
Yeah, because then you put it off. Then you put it off. You think, well,
Yeah,
I'm not going to be stressed. I'll go and have a cup of tea and some biscuits. I'll go and watch telly. I'll go.
right. It's too much. Let's just, yeah, I can't do this right now. So another day, another week goes by and you've done nothing. Instead of be like, okay, I'm gonna tackle this now and everything else can, there will be a time.
Yeah,
It will
yeah, yeah,
happen.
yeah. And
Yeah.
when you say you trusted yourself, so someone once gave me a really good bit of advice, and they said, "Go with your gut." That's a
Mm.
similar thing, isn't it? It's sort
Yeah.
of going with what you feel is right. I think sometimes what you do is you try and clinically think, is it right? And you try and delve into it. Whereas sometimes you just say, look, my instinct is let's go with it and let's see where it takes us.
Yeah, beautiful. Exactly. That's what it is. Because, this is the instinct is like there from way back then when we were hunters and gatherers, right? But we, in our modern world, really lost that ability to sort of distinguish. But we still have it. We know when something is right. We
Yeah,
know when
yeah,
something is not right. We do.
yeah, yeah.
And then often we see the red flag, maybe we don't want to see it, and then we come back to it and we're like, ugh, I knew it. I should never have done that. Yeah,
But you've
so
yeah,
often.
but you've only got one person to blame, and that's yourself. And sometimes you can live with that. And it's like, I know it's an easy thing to say, but it's like after COVID, I always think, we're all still alive. We're all still on the planet. There's a lot, we're not dead. No one's died. Move on. And
Yeah,
sort of having that realization, isn't it? That we'll work it out.
yeah,
It'll work itself out.
right. Yeah. Oh, I also drop into the here and now and really I'm doing this workshop right now, and for this week the mantra is this moment matters. And you really say that
Mm,
every moment really matters. It's such a powerful statement.
mm,
And we forget about this, whatever we do, and you stop yourself, even if something's super mundane, you're like, this moment matters.
yeah,
You're like, wow, you do it with a different quality. There is something different suddenly to that, whatever you do,
yeah.
because it's that moment and it will never come again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
You do your workshops, are they all online, Claudia, or do you do them, or do you have people, do you go to, I have places there in Germany?
no, it's all online right
Yeah.
now. I
It
mean,
has to be,
I
doesn't it?
actually still, yes. I mean, I'm talking with some friends and we want to start a compassionate circle in Berlin. And then I have plans to go to South Africa also, hopefully to do something in person. But hey, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know when we
Because
can
I was
do
just
that.
thinking, if you were working with me, and then you went, oh, I'm going California for 5 months, I'd be like, Claudia, don't leave me. Don't leave.
No, it would be on Zoom. Hey, we would be just doing what we're doing now.
So
Very up close and personal.
oh, bless you. So tell me what's happening this year then? What are you looking forward to? You just said South Africa. What are you roughly looking at doing this year?
More work and workshops in person.
Hmm.
Really fully showing up for the practice I started, with the compassionate inquiry. I mean, where it's like really doing the work, the therapy work. And I'm redoing my website right now. Permission to Bloom is going to take a whole different, look and message because of that, what I just finished. And just going deeper and yeah, floating along.
Just keep floating along.
Yeah.
Where so you go in California. Do you know how long you go in California for, or are you just gonna see how it goes?
1 month, 1 month. That's my, 1 month, that's my plan. But then, as I said, who knows?
You do photography work in California and in Germany, or is it all mainly in California?
California, yeah. Because it's just my work contacts are there, and it seems, yeah.
And are you still doing? Is it commercial work? What sort of
Mm-hmm.
photography are you doing over there?
Yeah, yeah. It's advertising, fashion advertising work.
Anything interesting?
Anything
Anything
interesting?
interesting?
Anything interesting? I just did a campaign for a vegan luxury bag company. They make leather now out of its cactus leather.
Yeah.
It was really
Wow.
cool. I mean, so that was really awesome
Yeah.
project, sustainable. The project I'm going back for is also for a fashion brand. Just my last project in December was some really fun and funky portraits for an advertising agency. I don't know, various projects. I'm really involved, and I want to do, this is what I'm focusing on this year, bringing age awareness to the advertising world. I'm working with a model agency. It's called Celebrate Grey, which like women over 50, because I feel like our advertising world really needs to embrace age,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Definitely.
it's not just I don't want to be sold all the clothes by 18-year-olds. And I mean, I don't want to sound judgy, but I think
No. No.
we're
Yeah.
more than this, right? We need to really, I think the advertising world the brands need to change their awareness. So I did this before COVID, and I'm gonna pick this up again. Every month I'm going to photograph a woman, which is like gray haired, beautiful, maybe 60, 70 years old, and I don't know. It's another thing I'm really
Yeah.
passionate about.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds
Mhm.
amazing. Because I understand that in a little bit. That I'm not a photographer. I do a little bit, but because I'm a filmmaker, I understand the camera.
Yeah, similar world. It's very parallel.
Yeah, and when you see someone that's older, I feel you get so much more of a story. You know,
Mm.
the wrinkles, the greyness, the eyes. If I see a portrait of someone who's older, you know, you can really feel their life. Whereas when there's someone younger, it's sort of, I understand why they use young people, but yeah, it's terrible. They should use, ageism. Up with the ageism, I say.
I know, yeah, up with the ageism. And it's everywhere in the world. And I don't know, again, I wonder what happened. This is not that long ago. We used to respect our elders.
Yeah,
We used to really, had grandma, grandpa, they had incredible stories. We would go there and be really wanting to listen to them. And I don't know what happened that suddenly they're invisible and we don't
yeah,
value anymore what there's so much the experience, the life
yeah,
experience. And I think we need to come back together as this intergenerational mix, because we all need each other. I
yeah,
think the elders need the young ones to keep young and cool and on afloat, and then the young ones need the older to also ground, and the wisdom exchange is very powerful.
yeah, definitely,
So
definitely.
so
Excellent stuff. Right, I
yeah.
always ask my guests for a bit of advice. It can be a bit of advice that you've been given recently, or you would give people because of maybe COVID and coming into the new year. What's give us a bit of wisdom, Claudia?
Okay, so really be aware of what you consume. It's visually, sound, and not just your food, but also like consuming the news.
Yeah,
So being very aware, because there is a lot of fear floating around, and fear is very sneaky. It
yeah,
just starts sitting in our gut and our belly, and then we're hooked. And I think that's would be one. Let's just not forget who we are, and let's not buy into the fear. Go and hug a tree, ground in nature.